Me, 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 me. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. Alrighty then. I don't know why. This always reminds me of the scene in Ace Ventura where he's in the temple and he's like, alrighty then. Hello, collective. Let me give you a little more frequency. Let me tune your human biofield for you. We love you so much. We are so proud of you. I just love you. I love being here with you. I love co-creating and connecting in this very unique way. It's so much fun for us. We are here doing another psychic development training course with my spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle. My name is Patience. I am your favorite psychic spirit medium, host of Spirit News on Spotify, where we teach you about what we are learning in real time about non-physical energy with my very own spirit team, the Guild of the Golden Triangle, Mish, Mirabelle, and Mantis. I am so grateful to have them, and I want everyone to know what it's like to have spirit guidance and to be able to tap into that and to be able to utilize it and use it in your own life to help your soul's path find alignment. That is our passion. That's what I'm passionate about. I love being of service and service to the one and service to the all. So we have been guided to over the years to document our everything artsy. You are now tuned to the most articulated and fun streamer in the world. Everything artsy. Who are you? Are you Soul Tribe? Are you Soul Tribe? You must be, because you always have positive things to say, and we appreciate your positivity. We really do. We love you so much. Thank you for being here always. So, I think my, okay, just making sure. We are here to be of service to the collective. Sorry, I got distracted. Neurodivergent. And hold on one second. I'm sorry, you guys. I just had to make sure that wasn't my kids screaming. My kids are sleeping, but I heard this screaming, and I am next to the backyard, but I just want to make sure that they're not that they're not screaming. Oh, okay, sorry. Spirit just said bride shot Hector floor, and they said noisy before I went to check on the kids. Sorry about that. So Brian May guitar, Freddie Mercury. Oh my gosh, Freddie Mercury would be a good one. Lifelong distances are short. I don't know what that means. But it sounds like you'd say after it, you know? Lifelong distances are short. So I'm doing another training session for my psychic abilities, which we believe everyone is psychic. Everyone has the intuitive hits where they know someone's going to call them, or they know they shouldn't hang out with someone, or they know they shouldn't do something. So everybody has those. Those are intuitive hits. And if you were to intentionally focus on training your mind to focus on joy, to focus on clearing your field to 144,000 hertz, which we have been guided to do by our spirit team, you would walk in divine energy, which is what you naturally are in your non-physicalness, because we are non-physical entities having a human experience. And so we are here doing our best to learn our abilities. We're child psychic, we were born psychic, and we had lots of things happen to us as children. And then we realized very quickly that not everybody saw what we saw, and so we learned to repress it up until 4 or 5 years ago, where I was spontaneously activated, or my gifts were spontaneously activated through some trauma that I was experiencing, and I was guided to take. To empower myself to take a mediumship course, which I took the James Van Praagh School of the Spiritual Arts mediumship course that sparked this ability to tap in through the heart space. And so that's what we do here. We show you through example, not for you to do it like us, but to show you that it's being done, because we're going into from the head to the heart energetically. We're going into a new era or a new cycle, whatever you want to call it, the age of Aquarius. Spirits said definitely. And the age of Aquarius is more about tapping into your feminine energy, which is very fluid and very empathic and very more like emotional. And Spirit has taught me, and I hope that through our documentation of the data, by observing the things, the wisdom and knowledge that they impart to us, we track it all on our TikTok. If you want to check it out, we leave all the spirit nuggets that have guided us here to this point. And we hope that by doing these reads, not only does it develop us as a psychic medium, spirit medium, but it helps you to spark something inside of yourself to understand that you're capable of amazing things, of being supernatural. You are a supernatural entity. Your vibration, frequency, and breath having a human experience. You're not human. And just the awareness of that, not even the belief, but just the awareness that that is possible, opens up a whole new realm of possibilities for you to find alignment, for you to be in an abundant energy so you attract abundance. Okay, so we're master manifestors here, co-creating in this very unique way with Holy Divine Spirit, with my spirit team, and we're so happy to be with you. Lady of Light, hello. Scovy, hi. Hello, everybody. Marcus, thank you so much. Kapu, thank you so much for being here. So, I'm trying to go in a different direction for my training, my psychic training. I want to be more intentional with what comes through. And even though there's no way for me to physically prove with evidence of what I'm getting is correct, it's still a really awesome way to connect with spirit, to connect with you guys. It's fun, and we're just able to understand energy as the clues come out with the different kinds of things we have to be able to read it. Okay, spirit said incorrect. I don't know why they said incorrect about reading the energy. Well, there is something specific I want to read is Chester Bennington. I was singing his song all week about, or I wasn't singing it, but it was stuck in my head. I was like hearing it in my head. His song, I've worked so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter, which I want to read the lyrics to that. So, and I will in a second. Let me just pull them up. What is that song called? Chester Bennington, in the end, lyrics. Okay, here we go. So I just have it ready. So just some things about Chester Bennington before we connect. First of all, I want to say that this is for entertainment purposes only. I have to say that for legal reasons. Okay, this is for legal reasons. This is for entertainment purposes only. I cannot prove that anything I get is true. This is for fun. Okay. Spirit said incorrect. Okay, I gotcha. Spirit said possibly is true, but we can't prove it. So. But we're going to try to see if we can connect with Chester Bennington. He did pass. He was born on March 20th, 1976 in Phoenix, Arizona, which, oh, with a light flicker, I was just going to say we have a connection. We have a couple connections because I lived in Phoenix, Arizona for a while, all through high school, all through middle school. I believe I moved to Arizona when I was in 6th grade. And I grew up there until a little bit after high school. Yeah, oh, Spirit just said communication. Come through, Chester. You are welcome here. We would love to have you. Thank you so much, Holy Divine Spirit, for connecting us to the energy of Chester Bennington. We would love to have him in our field if he is of divine white light and in a place of healing where he wants to share his human experience. I would love to bring him through so we can understand his perspective of what he went through and what happened to him. Thank you so much, Holy Divine Spirit. So, born March 20th. So, what does that make him? A Pisces? So, Pisces are supposed to be very sensitive and intuitive. 1976 in Phoenix. And he passed or transitioned July 20th, 2017. March, April, May, June, July. So, 5 months after his birthday, March 20th, July 20th, 5 months, 2017, and he was born in 1976. 7 minus 1 is 6, 1 plus 6 is 7, and 7 minus 1 is 6. So I have 7, 7, and 6, 6. Spirit just said protect. Holy Divine Spirit, please protect me from any energy that would not want me to read Chester Bennington. I cast you out in the name of Jesus. You're not welcome here. Only divine energy that matches my energy or higher is allowed here. Okay, so that's weird. So 7, 7, 7, and 6, 6, 6. Interesting. Okay, and then he died at 41, and I am 41. I am 41. I am 41, so that's interesting. And then, so that's...
I'm not coming in here for fun. I'm just... Can me and Mikey go outside in the backyard?
Yeah, I'll look after you right here. Stay in the backyard, though. So, we have 3 connections, okay? Get this. So, grew up in Phoenix. We're both 41. And the third is Club Tattoo, which is he co-owned a tattoo shop called Club Tattoo in Las Vegas, which I think is also in Arizona. But I actually worked at Club Tattoo for a short amount of time. And that's 3 connections that we have. So I think Chester Bennington does want to come through. So let's see what we got. Chester, tell us what happened to you. What do you want us to know? Where should we go first?
Aunt.
Spirit said aunt. Spirit said protect George and aunt. Let's see. I think we should start in our philosophy book. Let's start in our classic Western philosophy book, okay? Let's see. Augustine. Actually, no, just kidding. I forgot I pulled these lyrics up. Let's see what he says. It starts with one thing, I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard you try. Keep that in mind. I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. All I know, time is a valuable thing. Watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. Watch it count down to the end of the day. The clock ticks life away. It's so unreal. Didn't look out below. Watch the time go right out the window. Trying to hold on, didn't even know I wasted it all just to watch you go. I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end it didn't even matter. I had to fall to lose it all. I wonder when he wrote this song, released 2000. So he passed 17 years later. This was 2000s. 17 years later. In spite of the way you were mocking me, acting like I was a part of your property, remembering all the times you fought with me, I'm surprised that it got so far. Things aren't the way they were before. You wouldn't even recognize me anymore. Not that you knew me back then, but it all comes back to me in the end. You kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to me will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard. I put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. For all this, there's only one thing you should know. I've put my trust in you, pushed as far as I can go. I wonder if this is something he went through or he was trying to tell us something, because this says, keep in mind I designed this rhyme to explain in due time. The pendulum swings. A countdown.
Unimportantly.
Huh. Watch the time go right out the window. Okay, I'm going to say for the data, and I don't know if it's true, or even if we're talking to Chester Bennington, I don't know. We could just be talking to energy. This is how energy works. We could just be talking to energy that had someone who wants to come through that had a similar experience or some kind of connection that is similar to Chester's. So it doesn't have to necessarily be Chester, but in spirit, tell me if I'm wrong. It kind of feels like Chester, or whoever this energy is, whether it's Chester or not, may have watched somebody pass or something, or they lost somebody, or they were part of somebody's passing, or something like that. And it's something that like tore them up inside, or it could be somebody's waiting to die or waiting to pass. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Let's read the Augustine. Disagree. Okay, thank you. So I think they may have witnessed somebody's death. And that's why time is such a valuable thing to him. Something about a countdown. There was some kind of countdown to someone's life being taken away, and it was so unreal because he didn't watch where he was going below. He didn't know that this was going to happen. He wasted a bunch of time. It was almost like he knew his time was going to be up or something. And I have right here an all-powerful malignant force. God permits the existence of evil in the world. Augustine. During the second through the 5th centuries or so of the Christian era, Christian apologists began to graft the shoots of the New Testament onto the roots of Platonism, Aristotelianism, and Stoicism. Such husbandry was the work of the fathers of the church. Hence, this part of the Christian era is sometimes called the patristic era. Indisputably, the greatest of the church fathers was St. Augustine, born in the North African town of Thagast. Yes, yes, yes. Receive an education in rhetoric preparatory to a career in law. Not only was, so some kind of judgment, law, some kind of judgment. Judgment of himself. I have, in which he indulged himself freely. Famous for his iniquity, in which he indulged himself freely. So Chester was under, either he judged himself or he was under judgment for indulging himself freely. Green! Spirit just said green. Chester indulged in something freely. And he was either judging himself or he was under judgment for some kind of gluttony he was doing. Gluttony is something you do over and over again, even if it's bad for you. Augustine first heard of Manichaeism, a dualistic Oriental religion he followed for some 9 years. Augustine was attracted to the Manichaeans by their swift solution to the problem of evil. That is the problem of why all good, all-powerful God permits the existence of evil in the world, because it's dualistic. The Manichaeans held that the counterpoise to God is an all-powerful malignant force, and the world continually exhibits the endless strife between these two. So he was depressed. He was like stuck in his dark, like in a darkness or something, or some kind of negative thinking. Negative, I'm writing notes. Negative thinking. Chester indulged freely in dark, negative thoughts. Infest. He indulged freely in dark, negative thoughts that infested his mind. Oh, goodness. He was judging himself. He was under judgment and judging himself for something that he did. Something that he may have done before 2017. Something that he got educated about when he secured a position. He became disenchanted at the growing through the years of being completed and tormented by the problem of evil. He encountered 2 influences. Let me write that down. 2 influences that had a profound effect on his life. He heard many sermons that deeply moved him and writings that claimed to be perfect. That claimed to be perfect. And these two people that influenced him must have been part of some kind of church or something, or some kind of belief, or some kind of philosophy, or some kind of rhetoric, it says, that had settled his skepticism and gave him reservations about Christianity. He saw a way out. His way out of the problem of evil was passé. Everything that exists is created continually thwarting God's efforts. Evil had him thinking that the presence of God is something that is absent. Oh. Grocery. Damn. He rose rapidly in the ranks until he rose rapidly in the ranks and held a position high until his death. His writings cover virtually every aspect of his experience. Since he spent most of his adult life seeking to define and defend the attacks of non-believers that challenged him. He maintained the sacraments administered by sinful priests.
Blimps.
Blimp, Spirit said. They denied the doctrine of original sin, claiming that Adam and Eve's sin was not transmitted to their descendants. Spirit said not likely. He believed that God's grace was not necessary for human salvation. His success was generally considered sufficient merely due to his authority. So according to what Spirit is saying, or what Chester's telling us, is that for most of his adult life, he suffered evil and he done evil on Free Choice of the Will, Book 1. He was depressed because he indulged freely in darkness and negative thoughts, because he was infested by two people who two people he partied with, or that was in his immediate circle, that had influence over him, that could have been part of a church or some kind of rhetoric, that were in their shadows. They convinced him that God couldn't possibly exist, because why would God let so much evil be around? Okay? And so what we're learning about confirmation, what we're learning about energy, is that
1917.
when you subscribe to even just negative thoughts, you don't have to necessarily be doing rituals and all that or whatever. This says he paid sacrament to evil. So evil is the opposite of love, okay? Evil is when you're feeding the wrong, when you're watering the wrong field, you're watering the wrong things. This says he indulged freely in dark, depressive, negative thoughts. If you continually allow your thoughts to be negative, good afternoon, Robin, thank you. If you continually allow your thoughts to be composed in your mind over and over and over again, that is considered evil, because evil is just an energy of lack of love. It's a lack of love, and God is love. Even if you're not religious or Christian, the Creator, what the spark of electricity that animates you, is given to you by an intelligent force, a consciousness that is conscious and that is unconditional love. It is an energy of love. It is a frequency, it is a sound, it is a breath, it is something other than human, okay? And if you have that absent in your field and it does not allow you to choose, because this is a dualistic universe, just like it said, that it's dualistic, it's both at the same time. It's dark and it's light. And then as I turn one page on Free Choice of the Will, it's up to you to choose which thoughts you're going to think. You can choose. You can always choose. There's always a choice. But you have to train your mind, just like what we talked about when we first started. You have to train your mind to believe that there is a choice and that you can make it. And what Chester is telling us is that in his experience, he gained everything he wanted. He gained a position of authority by doing evil acts and thinking evil things and negative things. But the thing is, he had everything he wanted, yet he had nothing at all. And so he thought, according to this, he thought to himself, because of the philosophy that he was influenced by these two people that ordained him as some kind of person of position until his death, he believed that because there is no God, the only way to end his thoughts was what he did, was to take his own life. Because in what he believed, if a God existed, then why is there so much evil, and why is there so much hatred, and why is there so much, negativity? But the thing is, you can't have one without the other. If you are put in timeout or hidden from the channel, it's because you are vulgar. Oh, thank you, Robin. Thank you. Thank you to you. Thank you to you. I love you so much. I appreciate you. So Chester Bennington is telling us that what he believed while he was here convinced him that there was no other way out of the problem of evil, because everything that existed in his world he created by continually thwarting God's efforts come through. He continually found ways to not have the presence of God, but have the presence of evil, to prove to himself that God doesn't exist, but rather the absence of something, namely goodness. So what we're learning is that this reality is whatever you believe it is. Okay? So whatever you believe it is. If you believe that only evil exists here, then that is what you will create, because that is what is in your energy field. That's what, and your thoughts are your part of your energy field. And so this universe does not care about good or evil, love and light. It only cares about what you're reflecting to it to create for you, because you are the creator, and the universe just wants to help you experience what you're creating. So Chester Bennington, in this belief system, this rhetoric that he was taught for most of his adult life, was his tormentor, because and he was the cause of the problem, because he believed that because evil exists, there's no way God can exist. And so it says right here that he would thwart God's efforts to show him that there is goodness, but he always chose to negate it, or to talk himself out of believing that it's possible, because he chose negative thoughts. So because that's what he chose over and over again, because what we find is that every time you think a negative thought, and I'm just going to use this as an example to help you understand how it works, how you create your own reality. Every thought is like a really thin layer of energy. Okay, so say I want a churro. Okay, I'm just using this as an example. Say you want a churro. Well, you have to have the thought first. Okay, you have to have the thought first, which would, you're sitting here and you're getting a sweet tooth, and you think about a churro with its yummy cinnamon sugar goodness, and how warm and crunchy it would be, and the steam that's coming out of it. When you bite into it, it's like a little hot, and you're like, it's a little hot, and it's sweet, and it's cinnamony. That's starting in your mind first. So that's the first layer of building your reality. Okay, then you didn't get the churro, but you forgot about it, but the next day you think about it again. Well, that's another layer of creating or manifesting a churro into your reality. And then pretty soon you think about it so often about how it'd be so good to have a churro, and it's the thoughts are layering, and then finally it comes into density because you're adding, every thought is creating density, okay? And then it manifests into your reality by you decided to go to this park you never been to, and what do you know, they have a little truck selling churros. That's how you manifest your reality. It doesn't happen instantly, it happens over time. Churros delivered. Yeah, the universe said, she's thinking about a churro a lot, I'm gonna give it to her, okay? Assalamu alaikum. And so that's what Chester was doing. And that's what a lot of people do, and then wonder why all these things are happening to them. Chester chose, and he didn't know he didn't know he had a choice, which the next page is on free choice of the will. And I got this book at a thrift store, and someone has underlined a lot of the text. So I'm going to see what Spirit's going to say to us. Please tell me, isn't God the cause of evil? Question mark. Evil in two senses. First, when we say that someone has done evil, and second, when we say that someone has suffered evil. He rewards the good and punishes the wicked. Those punishments are certainly evils for those who suffer them.
Disagree.
Spirit said disagree. Those punishments are certainly evils for those who suffer them. If we're just talking about, if you just take God and religion and good and evil out of it, and you just think of it as energy, every time you think a negative thought, and Chester was doing evil things because there was no goodness in his life. So it wasn't only just thoughts, it was whatever this two influencers, they were all doing something towards something negative. I'm not sure what it is yet. It could be, so it says sacraments. So let me look up sacraments. Sacraments.
Here's the definition of sacrament. In the Christian Church, a religious ceremony or ritual regarded as imparting divine grace, such as baptism, the Eucharist, and, in the Roman Catholic and many Orthodox churches, penance and the anointing of the sick.
So it says a ritual. They were doing religious ceremonies and rituals against against God. Because they didn't believe in God's grace, because they kept thwarting God's efforts to show them. They kept thwarting the presence of God and watering their thoughts of evil presence. Spirit said 50. It's 50-50. They both exist at the same time. So they were taking action. They were planning, preparing. They were
Uncertain.
According to Scientology, it's their own fault. Well, if you just take any religion out of it, don't think of it as religion, think of it as energy. When you work with 3 energy fields to intentionally plan a sacrilegious ceremony that mocks the creator or that mocks source energy, when you take that action, what you're doing is an energy exchange. You're creating a negative energy and you're exchanging it for your divine energy. You're doing an exchange for light to dark. And when you do that over and over again and you don't allow any goodness in, eventually the darkness takes over and you live and you perceive in that darkness. That is something you created. They created their own reality. And they created their own energy because that's the energy that they were creating with intention. And so that's what they were sitting in because they were not watering the correct garden. If you want to have joyful thoughts and enjoy your life and be grateful for your fruits, then you have to think those things. But if you are in a lack mentality and you're constantly feeding that negative dark part of yourself, that's what you will perceive everything in that energy. So it has it has nothing to do with religion. It, even though religion plays on this dynamic, if you just think of it as purely giving and creating the energy that you want to live in, you can't do this. You'll be exactly where Chester Bennington was at and what happened to him in the end. Because imagine working so hard. You work so hard to get so far, and none of it matters because what he was creating was always in this energy of there's no goodness, only evil exists. Because if there is a God, why would God allow such bad things to happen? God doesn't allow bad things to happen. It's humans who allow themselves to do bad things and to not make good choices because we have free will. God doesn't make you go and put the bullet in the gun or put the noose around your neck. God doesn't make you do that. It's the energy that you're in that makes you think that that's what you have to do. And so it's the person with the unhealed wounds, with the inability to understand what energy they're in at all times because they don't have discernment, is what makes them operate in that energy and do those things. It's not, God does not mess with our free will like lower astral entities will. God will never make, or Holy Divine Spirit will never make you do anything you don't want to do. Will never, true Spirit said, will never force you to do something that isn't, that you don't want to do. It's your choice. They'll suggest things, they'll give guidance. It's always a suggestion. It's always unconditional love. It's always patient. It's always kind. It's never impulsive. It's never you have to do this now or someone's going to die. It's never like that. And when you don't believe that God exists because your mind, your perception can only perceive evil things because you are doing evil things, that's not God's fault. That's your fault. That's your fault because you don't understand energy. And you think that because you believe that God doesn't exist, that he doesn't. That's not true. And God doesn't have to be he. It's whatever you want it to be. God doesn't have a gender. God is a omnipotent energy of consciousness that's of pure unconditional love. It can be man, woman, child. It could be whatever. Father, mother. So it's like a catch-22. It's like you can't believe in evil and not believe in God because one cannot exist without the other. You can't
sneeze.
Spirit said sneeze. If you believe in evil, then you have to know that God exists because this is a dualistic universe, and you just like there's hot and cold, wet and dry, sun and moon, up and down. You can't have one without the other. So I was watching this quick short, and this Christian guy interviewed a Satanist, and he was like, so you don't believe God exists at all? And she's like, no, God doesn't exist, only Satan exists. Well, that's impossible because just based on the universal law of free will to choose, you have to have two choices to choose. If you have one choice, there's nothing to choose. You have to pick the only option you have. And so the fact that we have free will tells you that the fact that you could choose so many options tells you that there's good and bad. The fact that you can be a Satanist but still get excited when you go eat that churro, well, that's joy. And so you believe in evil but yet you're enjoying a churro. Okay? That's choice. And so you have to amateur Satanists. I think all Satanists are amateurs. I think all Satanists are just little children, unhealed children that have been tricked by trickster spirits to attain worldly things in exchange for their soul. Okay? Chester Bennington did evil sacraments to something he believed in. I don't know what, to a sinful priest that had no validity. And they denied Adam and Eve and denied God, and so therefore denied goodness in their lives. And so he came to a place of authority, but through very let me see. He came to a place of authority even through moral weakness. He came to a place of authority doing evil things through moral weakness, it says. And because that grew over time, because he believed that there was no importance of dealing with the problem of evil, he didn't see it as evil because nothing bad was happening to him. He was getting everything he wanted, or so he thought. But nevertheless, when you are not in divine illumination and you deny God's presence, you will live in very dark devil energy, and you'll have dark thoughts, and everything you perceive will be hateful, and you'll be unhappy, and you can have the world, but you will not have a full heart. You'll have a very dark heart. Every time you do a sacrilegious ceremony or ritual, energy doesn't die. And so what you're doing when you choose to do those rituals, or what Chester's doing, is you're doing an energy exchange. You're saying, basically, like, energy is the new currency. You're saying, I'm going to exchange a piece of my light energy for a piece of this dark energy, and pretty soon the exchange happens so often that all you are is dark energy, dark matter. And when you're in that energy, you don't have reason, you have aggression, you're not passionate, you're always in conflict, you don't have optimism, you don't have expansion, you're not receptive, you're always in your emotions, you gain bad habits, and you end up not being happy, because happiness is not about giving your power away for material gain. That's not what it's about. And that's what Chester did. He didn't know, though. Spirit said uncertain. He didn't know that that's what he was doing at the time, because the two people that influenced him made it sound so convincing. They were like, oh, it just made sense to him at the time, the way that they explained their philosophy. And so really what these two people did was trick him into indoctrinating him into this lifestyle to indulge himself freely. It's okay to indulge. You can do whatever you want. Like hedonists, or like nihilistic kind of vibe, where we have the power, we have the money, we can do anything we want, nothing ever happens to us. There must not be a God. Because if there were a God, then why would he let us do such horrible things? Like, that's what it kind of feels like. That's the vibe. Damn. Damn, diggity damn. Well, Chester, what do you feel now, having a higher perspective of your human experience? How do you feel now? Please share with us your feelings about how you feel now. Lizard regeneration upside down. Sure. He was in survival mode. He was trying to do anything he could to adapt instead of transform. He didn't he didn't become an ascended master. He didn't become an ascended master. He became a lizard king. A master of the lizards. Now he's a messenger. Now he's giving us a message of his human experience. He's sending us a message to open our vision and to see the signs, to focus on priorities and eliminate distractions, and to know you have a bright future and to let yourself ascend to new heights. He took a way out that seemed easy. These two people were like, yeah, you can have everything you want. You just have to do this and that. And it may have involved some kind of sacrament of animals or something. Who knows? But it was some kind of false philosophy that karma. Oh, shit. Damn, Chester. He may have... Probably. Thank you, Spirit. Because of what he did in this energy he was in with these people, some kind of sacraments he made, which means religious ceremony or ritual regarded as imparting divine grace. But if he's doing it for evil purposes, then he's mocking divine energy, which is which is blasphemy, that's not very nice, okay, to mock God. If he was doing that over and over again, then what he was feeling before he passed was the energy that he gave out. Absolutely. Spirit just said absolutely. And that is essentially what karma is. Karma is not punishing you. Karma is reflecting to you what you gave out. And so he's giving us a message to pay attention to the signs that God's giving you. Do not ignore when God's telling you not to do something, because like we say all the time here on Spirit News, God, your spirit guides are always talking to you. They're never not talking to you. It's us who don't want to listen or ignore the signs. So he thwarted God's messages and signs because he didn't want to believe that goodness existed, because he was already doing such bad things. In his mind, if he allowed goodness in now, then all those evil things I did would have mean I made a choice to do such evil things and mock God. And that was a road he didn't want to take. That was a road that wasn't appealing to him. He wasn't like, oh, well, I did all these evil things against God, but now that I know goodness exists, let me just forgive myself. Stitch. Spirit said stitch. Yeah. He couldn't stitch his heart together because he knew that he did things that ungrounded himself, that disconnected him from his heart chakra. And so all that energy exchange he did made him incapable of opening his heart chakra again in this lifetime. So he has a lot of karma to pay off, possibly even lifetimes of karma to pay off before he can get back to the status or spiritual authority that he was at, that he came here with, that he was supposed to fulfill, because he didn't have self-love. And he didn't have the courage to follow his intuition because he didn't believe he was limitless. He was ungrounded and he didn't ask for help. But now he's grateful for his human experience because it showed him that he was prosperous no matter what situation he was in. And now he's in a divine marriage. He's up in the clouds with the divine union, learning the art of gratitude, healing his relationships from the other side, and hoping that he can learn to give and receive easily, like he didn't get to do in this life, and how to be authentically himself. That's what he's learning in his life review, the things that he needs to take care of, and to be assertive in his wants and his needs, and to honor change, because change is, spirit's always changing or never stay the same.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Thank you so much, Chester. Is there any last things you want to say? Is there any last things you want to tell us? Any last words of advice or wisdom you can impart to us from your human experience? Polish your mirror for perfect clarity. Polish your mirror for perfect clarity. Polish your mirror for perfect clarity. Cut away what's no longer needed from you. Coming soon. Welcome to the Ascending Age. So his advice is that make sure you're seeing yourself clear, and that you're understanding what's around you, what you need to break yourself away from, the thoughts, the people, the places, the things, so you can see yourself clearly. Because when you're around energy that is distorting your own authenticity, or not allowing you to be your authentic self, and you're not honoring that, you don't see yourself clearly. And when you don't see yourself clearly, you see yourself just in a distorted way. That's what you will act in, and he wishes he had more assertiveness to stand up for the things that were happening in his environment that didn't feel right. And that spirit said night, the dark things, and he wished he would have followed his intuition, so that he could have been assertive in saying no, and not being afraid of not having the things that were presented to him if he did these things with these people. But because he was not clear about who he was, and he was afraid to be authentic in this crowd, he allowed them to take him down a road that he, in his mind, perceived as making sense. And it allowed him to ignore the signs that God was showing him, because once he got that far, it was like he already cut his arm off, he already had done damage, that going backwards and now seeing that God does exist, I've already done the worst, So the reason why he was in such dark energy before he passed is because that's the energy that he created, because we're master co-creators of the universe. Your thoughts create your reality. If you want to change your reality, you have to change your thoughts. If you're constantly thinking about negative things, and you're doing negative things, and you're hurting people, and everything is a criticism and a complaint, then your reality will bring you exactly what you think of all the time. And so that's what happened. And then he was starting to live in that energy, because once you give out that energy, there's nowhere for it to go. You have to just let it play out and receive what you gave out, until finally you realize that you can change your thoughts. And then eventually you'll filter the energy, you'll recycle the energy, and once it goes through a cycle, you'll have new energy of the new thoughts you're thinking. That's how it works. Okay? I love you so much. Thank you, Chester Bannington, for being here with us. I am so grateful, Spirit, for all the messages, love, and guidance. We love you, Collective. We hope it helps. Bye.